Dan Hurley was never going to the Lakers, and I think UConn's head coach used the media to gain leverage in contract negotiations, and everyone fell for it. Let me explain. So last Thursday, NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski shocked everyone when he reported that the Los Angeles Lakers were targeting Dan Hurley as their next head coach. The report seemingly came out of nowhere. Not only did it directly contradict fellow NBA insider Shams Charania's report that the Lakers were zeroing in on JJ Redick, but Hurley is coming off back-to-back national championships at UConn. He had just turned down the Kentucky job after Calipari left, and despite the Lakers coaching search starting a month prior, Hurley's name had never even been mentioned in the process. Still, Woj's report dominated the news cycle. ESPN's top NBA insider made special appearances that day on SportsCenter, Get Up, First Take, ESPN Radio, and the NBA Finals pregame show, providing everyone with minute-to-minute updates on the potential Lakers offer. Wojnarowski proclaimed, Dan Hurley has been the Lakers' top target from the very beginning. Hurley is the most sought-after coach in all of basketball, and Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss are determined to bring him to LA. They are preparing, I am told, a long-term, massive contract to get him to come to the Lakers. The only problem with this, of course, is that I don't think Dan Hurley was ever seriously considering leaving UConn for the Lakers. And my guess is that Adrian Wojnarowski knew that too. There is the obvious angle that Woj notoriously hates being beaten to a scoop, especially by his former protege and coworker, Shams, who used to work with him at Yahoo. So by directly contradicting Shams' previous reporting on Redick's hire, Woj gets a 2-for-1. He not only gets to break the initial news, but he also gets the follow-up that Hurley's not taking the job. That's obviously good for Woj and ESPN, and it's a big part of the reason that the world's largest sports media company signed Woj to a $35 million contract extension in 2022. But the real question is, why would Dan Hurley throw his name in the ring at the last moment if he knew all along that he likely wouldn't take the job? Now, obviously, some people will say that it's for attention, but this is really about leverage. Hurley has been negotiating a new deal with UConn ever since his team won its second consecutive national championship in April. Several government employees, including the state's governor, have publicly said that Hurley deserves to be college basketball's highest paid coach. But Hurley lost most of his "I'll just leave" leverage after turning down the Kentucky job, and UConn's current offer is only worth $8 million annually, which would be a sizable raise from Hurley's current $5.35 million salary, but still far from the number one spot, as Bill Self is the highest paid coach in college basketball today at $9.6 million annually. So yes, a 6-year, $70 million offer from the Lakers is underwhelming in terms of NBA money. That's because an annual salary of $11.6 million would have made Hurley the league's 6th highest paid coach, behind guys like Monty Williams. And the difference between that money and the $8 million annually at UConn is insignificant after you consider taxes and the cost of living. However, that $11.6 million offer from the Lakers is suddenly much more valuable if it gets UConn's final offer closer to $10 million annually. And that's without considering all the other stuff, like the fact that Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont signed a $4.4 billion bond bill last week that provides $625 million in financing for UConn over the next 7 years, including $80 million earmarked explicitly for basketball arena renovations. So while every sports show in America spends time discussing how the Lakers' brand is damaged because they couldn't get Dan Hurley, the real story goes much deeper. Adrian Wojnarowski literally wrote a book on Dan Hurley's father, Bobby Hurley. Everyone in and around basketball knows that Woj still has a fantastic relationship with the Hurley family, and it doesn't take a genius to connect the dots once you follow the incentives. Woj gets a big scoop during the NBA Finals while also little brothering his former protege, and Hurley gains back critical leverage for a huge raise. Now, the tricky part about a story like this is that many people in the sports business will refuse to talk about it or simply ignore it. Part of that is because they don't want to upset Woj or ESPN, who hold a lot of power within the sports media landscape. But this quid pro quo arrangement is too blatant to ignore. For example, in Woj's TV background on ESPN, his book on Bobby Hurley is prominently displayed above his shoulder. Some of this is to be expected, of course. The insider game is a lucrative business. These guys get paid millions of dollars annually because their vast network of connections is incredibly valuable in a social media world that rewards being first much more than second. However, these connections go both ways. Teams, agents, and executives give insiders like Woj valuable information because they expect valuable information in return. How much is a team offering for a player in free agency? When will a player return from injury? Is that owner actually going to sell the team? Is that guy unhappy with his current agent? Can you put in a good word with the team that I'm interviewing with? These questions are things that insiders deal with every single day. And these insiders hold a ton of power because they act as information brokers within the industry that they operate. With the most blatant example being when Adam Schefter sent a full draft of a story to then Washington Redskins team president Bruce Allen. He wrote in an email, "Please let me know if you see anything that should be added, changed, or tweaked. Thanks, Mr. Editor, for that and the trust. I plan to file this to ESPN about 6 a.m. Most people within the sports industry understand how this works. You'll hear that it's just part of the job and that it should be accepted. And to some extent, I kind of agree, as sports is hardly the only industry that allows people to gain power through favor. However, there's also a major difference between an NFL agent making insiders refer to him as, quote, a tight end guru in exchange for free agency leaks, as compared to an NBA insider working with one of the nation's top head coaches to create news and get him a raise. The former example is harmless, while the latter has much more significant implications. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel as I create weekly videos breaking down the most interesting stories in sports business.